we're looking at the second week here. And what I've seen so far in the second week is price action gets a little better, but there's a lot of B setups, and they may or may not work. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to uncovering here as I do more back testing throughout the years, is what's the second week of January like? So that said, I use TradeZella for back testing. I love it because it's pretty robust for back testing, and it's a very good journaling software. Not just journaling, but trade data and collection software that automatically syncs with your broker, collects your trades and aggregates the data. And quite useful software. I'm in it all the time. There's a link below the video if you're interested in TradeZella. Also, if you want to join me in my free trading Discord, I'd love to have you. We're a tight group of like-minded people just on our way to what's quite the word I'm looking for? Helping each other along in our journey. You know, everybody's at different places in this trading journey, and we all have different things to offer to one another. So if you wanted just a free Discord, trading Discord to hang out in, come join me. So that said, let's dive in, I guess. So here we can see the previous week was just a break-even week, one trade break-even. So we're diving into the second week. My account balance, you can see up in there, I'm doing an $800,000 account because that's equivalent to what I would be copy trading. So I'm working with the psychology of what's it look like to take a $2,000 loss or a $6,000 win. So that's the reason behind the account balance. So yeah, let's dive in. I'm gonna hide my face. All right, so let's check the first. Let's make sure we're on the right year, 2023. And second week we have 9 a.m. news, 8:30 and 10. So Monday's a no news Monday. Let's make sure I'm on the right year. Yes, 2023 Friday. So we'll go to the next session. And we'll zoom out to the weekly chart. So we're in a bearish trend on the weekly. So what are we at? The first week was trading. We're just trading down. I feel like I don't think it's at a bullish reversal zone quite yet. So let's check out the daily. Daily's just kind of sideways since pretty much October, so that's interesting. Some semi-relative equal lows down below. Let's see what the other assets are doing. ES floating down, bullish on the daily, but floating down on the weekly. YM is sideways on the daily, bullish on the weekly, whereas NQ is bearish on the daily, more sideways on the weekly kind of thing. So on the higher time frames, there is not clear correlation there for me. So let's see, the 2 a.m. 4-hour candle didn't really do much of anything. We have these equal highs that the 6 a.m. candle took into this 4-hour fair value gap. Curious if there's SMT down in here, up in there. Not really. All right, so let's just play. I usually spend a little more time scoping things out than this. But I think that the draw on liquidity is this low for the week is what I'm anticipating. I would expect price to trade up into this zone up in here, maybe up into here, I don't know, but trading up to trade down. That's what I'm expecting on the weekly. So for the daily, we kind of have a similar draw on liquidity, which is basically the same thing. So I'll just leave that as that for now. Well, I'm gonna change this up because on the daily, I'm gonna leave it still like, well, that's a daily change in state of delivery. So on the daily chart, I'm gonna put that for a draw on liquidity. Previous day high has been taken, but we do have a change in state of delivery. there is this daily gap right there, which we're trading into. So depending on how it reacts in this gap, this might be my draw on liquidity, or this might be my draw on liquidity. So let's check out the 15-minute chart. Looks like London took Asia's low and high, so that's just a tip of the hat to suggest that it could be a seek and destroy session. It's Monday. It's no news. Might expect more one-sided delivery because of that. So there's 12 a.m. open, 9:30. Let's mark the time. 9:30. Okay. Zooming in on the 1 minute. Anything we see here? So we got some trend line liquidity down below after taking this session high. And so I could see it delivering bearishly, potentially. But we shall see. Let's just start clicking. All right, so pre-9:30 looks like it's pushing bullishly. Let's see what happens. 9:30 keeps going, maybe? One stage. I mean, it's no news. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So here we have a 9:36 candle. Closing not outside of that gap, though. Still not outside. So I don't like these two candles. Even if it is closing below this inversion, there may be a short here. I'm not interested. Maybe there was a 30-second inversion or something like that. I don't know. Nothing here. I've noticed this a lot. January likes to just rip out of the open one way or the other. So that's a one-stage delivery, more or less. There's no real reversal. There is a reversal, but not a significant manipulation. Let's look at the 15-minute chart. So we have some gaps forming below. It's coming for something. The draw on liquidity is still up there. So obviously we're disrespecting this daily fair value gap way down in here. Let's see what happens. So what do we have here? Just some consolidation and continuation. I don't have any model in this crap. And coming towards the drawn liquidity. Boy, no 5-minute gap even, no 15-minute gap, unless there's SMT. No SMT. So nothing to do here. Just watch candles. All right. Tapped the draw on liquidity. It's 11:30, so pretty much, and no V-shaped anything. I mean, there was this right there, but didn't like it. I doubt there's a 15-minute gap. Yeah, it's close to lunchtime. I think it's wanting to consolidate more than likely. So 12 o'clock, I'm done trading at this point. I can zoom out to the 15-minute. Let's look at 1:30-ish. And we'll go forward. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I might be curious at looking at the 1-minute chart now. So this is in the lunch hour. I don't trade that, even if it is a reversal. So from 12 o'clock, we'll call it this to there. That's roughly the lunch range. Kind of not good looking candles. You got, what about them? If we just look, every candle just retraces and expands deeply. So here's some, low resistance liquidity run. We can see these candles are just distributing. And then look at these. They're just on the lower time frame. It's really deep retracements, like the 5-second chart or whatever. So noticing that, I don't really like it. I'm paying attention to I'm not just looking for my model. I'm looking for what's price doing, how is price looking, and do I want to be trading the second week of January? Or do I say that's not a week I trade? I've done it once before, and I think I was slightly red on the month. So, all right. So here's a nice looking inversion for a change. Tapping into a 1-hour gap. Where is it? There it is. And I got, see what we got going on here. Do we have any SMT? We do have bullish SMT. So you can see between this low on YM and NQ and on ES. So there's a 1-hour gap, 15-minute gap. Here's a tailless candle. So right there's no tail on that candle. Let's zoom out a little bit. So what time is it? 1 hour. So we do have this huge gap below, and while that drawn liquidity was met, this drawn liquidity, this one's not met. So this meets all of my requirements. On the higher time frame, we have a SMT, we have a 1-hour level. Do we have a 4-hour level? We don't have a 4-hour level, but we have a 1-hour level. We have a 15-minute level. Fair value gap. Now here's the only thing is we have all the rest of this gap. I can't take a trade if that's just too big of a trade to see it close above that. So my question is, here's this inversion. It's 2 minutes outside of the macro. So I think I can take it. I would typically want to combine these two into an inversion, but this looks like an A setup. And with the 3R, it's still a really reasonable target. It's the kind of thing where it's like I'm either on or off sides, which I know is like a stupid thing to say, but the way I feel about this trade is like it's pretty clear, like it's a setup that I'd be interested in. And let me just think about the order flow real quick. So the 5-minute doesn't have a confirmed C2, and the 15-minute does not. So it feels a little premature because it could want this low. And it did take this draw on liquidity. So I'm, split on this a little bit. I mean, maybe it's an A- setup. And if this draw on liquidity hadn't been taken, man, I would be not hesitating. But the fact that it took that session high does make me hesitate. So I don't know. I guess I'll just take it and see what happens. or I'm gonna, before I take it, let's do a, so it's an IFVG. We have a 1 hour fair value gap. We have lunch liquidity taken. We have SMT. Let's just run through the checklist real quick. We do have some trend line liquidity. We do have this high, but what is that? That's another session high. There are these relative equal highs up in there. So there's reason for it to go higher. I think locally I would like to see a little better liquidity than this, but we do have some trend line. So I'm going to say we do have trend line. And then just noting here is no 5 minute, 15 minute C2 candle confirming some sort of reversal. We have the previous day high taken. So those are the cons against this trade and why it might not work. Let's find out. All right, so I'm on MNQ again. I always give me so 50. I don't even know if it'll let me do what I want to do. Let's find out. 200, 150, 125. Obviously, we'll be trading minis. I don't want to limit. I want to market order. So I'm gonna go a little. I'm trying to be a little less conservative. Profit target 11357.25, 11320.25. Just because my data is starting to show me that the trades I'm a little bit hesitant on are like maybe they're a B looking setup, B plus. Those trades are actually worth taking in the long run. So I'm just going to market buy. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive with my trading now after seeing that. We shall see. We shall see. The other con is saying alrighty, let's go. Coming for me. So there we go. That was just offsides. Okay. Come back to that a little later. So it is coming for that lower fair value gap. All right, we got a bit of a consolidation. I'd like to see it drop further. So this is starting to look like one of the ugly trades that'll win. 2 o'clock closes above all these gaps. It has this consolidation in the middle. It taps down into that 1 hour gap. 15-minute forms a C2 candle. I want to go back to this trade and I want to grade it. An A minus probably. Or maybe an A. B plus, like a high B. And that was a loser. All right, so looking for some bullish SMT. We do have bullish SMT right there, 1 hour gap. And I guess I'm going against is the daily order flow bullish? Yeah, sorta, not really. What do we got? So it's bearish, but here's this daily change in state of delivery. So that's where I'm anticipating bullish delivery. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I can take it. This is a little ugly to me. Maybe I can go to a 2-minute. Either way, 1 minute, 2-minute. So this will be the long. We have this inversion with this volume imbalance. Could be off sides, but what we do have is we have an IFVG, we have a 1 hour fair value gap, we have SMT. We took a 1 hour low. One hour low swept. We still have similar targets. We have trend line targets so order flow on the daily. We have a 60. We do have a 5-minute C2 and maybe even a 15-minute C2. Is this inside the macro? It's inside the macro. So let's see a 15-minute. We do have a 15-minute C2. So we are inside the macro. So let's see. I'm going to say right there to there. Kind of thing. All right. Max me. That was one of my hesitations, so I guess I forgot to grade this. I was going to give this just a B setup. A B because we have consolidation inside and we have local trend line inside. And by that I mean, see all these candles consolidating? That's the consolidation inside the model. And then we had these relative equal lows and trend line. So that was a B setup. But I'm trying to be more open to taking B setups because the data shows I should be willing to take what I classify as a B setup. All right, so this is offsides. So it just was, see, that looks nicer. So let's see. Oh, just crap. So here we go. Oh, right there, there's one. 320. Now that came down into the 4-hour fair value gap, but I've technically used my ammo for the day, so I'm not even going to look. And it doesn't do anything. So, all right, so there was trade 2. Both were expenses. And the case of this trade here, offsides, and a B setup. So where's the other one? Let's pull up that other trade real quick. That was a B plus. This was, oh, I see. Never seen that before. Any which way, I can bring up the, where's my spreadsheet? All right, so this is the What are we on? January 8th. We got the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11, 12, January 8th. All right, so I was red on this day. So expense times 2, offsides times 2, and these were B setups. And I'm noting that because it makes a difference when I look back at this data and I try to decide what I should do. So the other thing is the missed opportunities in performance. Okay, what would have won? All right, well, let's find that out in a second. I'm gonna refresh this browser, see if it fixes it. There we go. What would have won? So for me, there was no 930 setup. Really isn't a short. I mean, maybe there's a short there. I would have been tapped out and been in consolidation. I don't trade right during, that would have been a 3R, but I don't trade that time period. So really, that short would have lost. Nothing would have won. Delivery was bull AM, bear, PM. Missed opportunities. I didn't miss any. There were no trades I didn't really take. And my performance was like, I don't know what you would call that. Like, do I give myself an A because I took like my B setups? I'm gonna give myself a B because I took B setups. But that's like what I'm experimenting with a little bit. So it's like, can I really give myself a B if I'm doing what I think I should be doing? Not think I should be doing, but doing what the data is showing to me. Like, here's all these, I'm documenting these hesitant trades that I skip. 50% win rate. And so that's profitable. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, 50%. So that's profitable. And that tells me, and there's different periods. Like, look at all these hesitant, like a losing streak of hesitant trades, and then like a winning streak of trades I'm hesitant on. Most of this is January PA, where the setups aren't nearly as perfect. So maybe that's the condition, is if it's, January, I expect a little less from the setups and the formation. So yeah. All right, so let's clear this up and keep going. Let's go to the next session. We have Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pal Speaks, which doesn't really matter. So on the daily, so the daily did not, so the daily tapped that liquidity zone, and it closed right above that fair value gap. So I'm kind of indifferent on this one. There's a volume imbalance. It can come down into here and keep going. So the daily's unclear to me. The 4-hour, same, change in state of delivery right here. So I'm going to lean a little more bullish on this. There's the 12 a.m. All right. Already seeing some, look at these equal lows right there. So some 9 a.m. red folder volatility. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to even trade until 9:30. All right, 930. Just kind of some consolidation there. All right, opens up and just rips one way probably. Yep, just like 930 does for January. So there's nothing in here for me. I forgot to mark the draw on liquidity. I am going to assume the previous day high for the draw on liquidity. And for the weekly time frame, it's conflicting. So my weekly draw on liquidity is lower. Monday. Yeah, my weekly's, so my daily draw is higher into this gap. This high could come into this gap. Previous day low has been taken. This volume imbalance, all that's tapped into. So my draw is higher, but maybe no model for me. Let's see here. There is some 15-minute gaps down below. The 1 hour swept this. So if the 1 hour rejects from these gaps like this, then that's pretty bearish. I guess there was a short here I missed. I was feeling more bullish. 15-minute would have had no confirmation. 5-minute would have had no confirmation. Would have there been any SMT? Doesn't look like any clear SMT. Not even really a chance. So I'm going to consider that no SMT. I mean, that would have been a 3R trade, but no SMT. Hmm. So here's a 5-minute gap. I don't play the 5-minute gap. There is bullish SMT here. I probably would have been stopped out with that. So I don't know. I can't really say. I don't allow myself to take a 1-minute continuation gap trade. What's ES and YM doing? Okay. Just looking to see if they're decoupling. They're kind of just hanging out in this range. Oh, there we go. So here is a 2-minute gap. We have tons of liquidity down there. The time frames are not aligned. So here's a 4-hour, fair value gap. This 4-hour candle swept down into here. I'm more bullish than bearish at this moment. Check to see if there's any SMT. So here's this high. There's no bearish SMT. So even if this short plays out, similar thing. So here's a 3R short, probably. No SMT. Alrighty, so what have we got going on here? I don't like this price action. So this 1 hour dug super deep down into there. Here's a 15-minute fair value gap. There's these equal lows below. There's no SMT. So three R on that one. Consolidating, and probably nothing before 12. All right, so there we go. 3 trades, no SM, 3 winning trades, no SMT, so I couldn't take any of them. Let's go zoom out to the 15-minute. Look at the PM. So here the 15 minutes not looking very good. It's kind of just consolidating. I don't really want to even look at this PM session. So we'll just go back to the 1 minute. And nothing there, just one-sided delivery. So what do we make it today? What do I make it today? What is this? 23? 2023. So ultimately, no model. So 3 times no SMT winners. Technically nothing would have won. Other notes, so PA was okay yesterday. PA was okay today. Delivery was like a volatile consolidation. I mean, it's kind of like, how do you spell that? I don't know. Volatile consolidation. Missed opportunities, technically 0 because they didn't fit my rules. I guess my performance is an A for not doing stupid stuff and preserving capital. Those were A setups, no SMT. All A's. Which is a disappointing because any one of those 3 would have offset all of these losses from yesterday. So be it though. Let's clean this up here a little bit. Get those cleaned up. Go to the next session. All right, let's go. Let's so. All right, 9:30. So we do have 50% of this. Look at that. To a tick, 50% of this 4-hour rejection block so far is where price is responding to. I don't think I'm bearish. So 9:30 could retrace and then continue. But 9:30 often makes these order blocks where it just rips from open. Now this would be a two-stage 9:30 if it does. I don't know if it will, but again, two stages where we get a reversal like this. Let's play some candles forward. I don't have a model here. So here was a manipulation into really nothing. All right, pretty much at the 10 o'clock candle, and prices hardly moved. We're just stuck in this opening range, right, like this, which we got the clue that London took Asia's high and low. So we'll just let price move to one direction or the other. All right, so here's that draw on liquidity has been met. And so we have a suspension block and an inversion fair value gap. 10:30. So we do have SMT, multiple SMTs. A significant level. The previous day high was just taken. Now, is it something I want to short? I could expect price to retrace up into here. And really, that's more what I feel like it would do. I feel a little bit more like it would come up into here and then continue for those lows. While this was my near-term draw on liquidity, this gap is kind of the narrative for me is to come back to that gap, which is also equilibrium of this range. Now the question is, what targets are there, if any? There's a bunch of trend line liquidity. Really, there's this low here. That's kind of the main target. It's against the 4-hour order flow. It's against the 1-hour order flow. It's against daily order flow. A 15-minute doesn't have a C2. 5-minute. That is this 5-minute C2 right there, I guess, because that's closed, isn't it? Yeah, it's closed, the 1030 candle. So it's just not a very big IFVG. Otherwise, it's got a lot going for it. Like I usually have a bigger IFVG, and if it has these volume imbalances, so be it. The other thing is there is this breaker here. There's these equal lows right here. So I would, rate this, again, this is an imperfect setup and it's against order flow. So I guess I'm going to let this one go. Dang. Could have taken it, apparently. So probably would have had a stop like that. So that would have given 3R. So that one was not a perfect IFVG and against order flow. So I'm going to document that. That was a winner. I didn't take it. We have a winner, a small IFVG against order flow. Alrighty. What do we have? So here these equal lows were taken. Here's a bullish breaker, tiny IFVG. So one of the things I feel like I'm observing is the inversions in January tend to be small. Make a note of that here and spreadsheet. So here's another inversion right there. There's a breaker down there. Nothing really here of interest for me. And it's closing into noon. All right, so let's zoom out. We can go to the 15-minute. So I feel like I'm struggling a bit in these January sessions because I got used to looking for pretty clean setups, but they're just far and few between in January. All right, so what do we got there? 115. Go back down to the 1 minute. Our lunch is about here to there. Similar kind of thing right here even is just here's a tiny IFVG with a volume imbalance right there. See? So here's a 15-minute C2 candle tapped into this low. Bullish SMT. So well, the draw on liquidity was met. What we can see is there was a reaction, which is what we can expect at significant levels like a previous day high, even if you're offsides now or against order flow. Now here what we can see is it was still bullish, so it wants higher. What does it want? Possibly this volume imbalance, possibly this fair value gap. So I don't know, what we can kind of see is here is this really, in my opinion, an ugly model, this B model with all this trend line liquidity, and it played out. Now, similarly to me, I feel like this is going to do the same thing here. So here is a B model, and so it tapped into a 15-minute fair value gap. So here's an IFVG, 15-minute continuation. So I had a 15-minute fair value gap. SMT, we did have the previous day high. We have the probability targets are, what do we got? Do we have anything? We have some semi-relative equal highs. We have a 15-minute C2. Nice little stop hunt. So I'm going to give this a B setup again. This is a B setup, but as I'm seeing kind of the B setups are what we get. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't take them. What I saw in last week was if I took the B setups, I would have actually been profitable. So the cons of this trade are kind of not V shape and internal liquidity targets. This whole trend line, this tailless candle, and the draw on liquidity could be met. It's inside the macro. Oh boy, a lot of micros. Jeez. What, 70? Let's see. Nope. Probably not gonna run. Okay, stopped out. I think it was these ones. There we go. So the PM just went into a consolidation, which was one of my concerns. That's why I said the draw on liquidity has been met. Sometimes after you hit the draw on liquidity, it just kind of peters around for a while. And ultimately, looks like it would run. It's just too deep of a retracement for my stop. So, all right. I feel like I keep skipping the. So I'll see an imperfect trade that wins, and then I will take the next imperfect trade, and it'll be a loser. So expense times 1. Let's see here. It was a 1030 short. I'll give myself a B for today. I took B setups. And really, of the two setups, this one was more higher probability. So I should have been more forgiving for this IFVG than this one. Is what I think. So we'll consider this one. I don't want to say offsides because I wasn't offsides. I'm gonna just because I like to give my trades a reason. So then, like, what happened was I offsides, price consolidated. That's what happened. Once I entered, price consolidated, took me out. Let's see where it goes. So it does eventually hit the draw on liquidity just without me. So I wasn't totally wrong. I just had I don't want to say too tight of a stop. I mean, I can say that price consolidated and stop loss too close. But that's where I placed my stop loss. Alrighty then. So clean up this stuff here. We can take this one off. Or we'll leave that. We'll go to the next day open. Oh, wow. So we have news on Thursday, which was CPI. And so the draw on liquidity for me is the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. Up into there. So 4 hour did a nice little stop hunt, pretty clear there. Came into internal range of liquidity. Looks like YM and ES all doing similar kinds of things. With YM already meeting the draw on liquidity, probably. Same thing with ES. So they hit the. Oh, we're looking at the 4 hour. I want to see the daily. So these are These have filled in this daily fair value gap, so I'm paying attention to that. So on the 15-minute, so this looks like a New York low a day where London didn't really do anything. New York makes the low of the day. So we can assume, I'm going to assume relatively that we're looking at bullish continuation. Because of that, however, I do see we have news high and what I would consider the news low still intact. So here's our 12 a.m. open and 9:30. And let's go. All right, 9:30. Not too volatile, it doesn't seem. Ten a.m. Kind of ugly on the 15-minute. Pretty ugly on the 1 hour. It's starting to look heavy. Like to have this kind of bullish reaction and then this kind of bearish reaction. It's pretty heavy. Looks like ES is similar, YM is similar. So there's probably bearish SMT up here at these highs. Would be my guess with ES and YM touching into this, filling in their fair value gaps. NQ not choosing to do that. Not seeing anything in here. There was obviously this big inversion, but it was just a pattern just on the 1 minute chart. There's nothing for me that suggests it would want to change to bullish delivery. So here's an inversion breaker, but it's outside of macro. And I guess my rule is if the 15-minute is making barcodes, I don't take trades. So 11:30, 11:50, and 12. Did I miss? So here's a long, but that's just, there's nothing there in there for me. So there was no trades. No trades for me. Okay, 130. Oops, did I click it twice? I might have. I would have probably taken that right there. Shoot. And that's not even a hindsight. Like, I mean, obviously, I say that, but all right. So I clicked too fast, too far forward. But these equal highs being taken like that. Well, let's see. There was no level for me, so even if I was present, I couldn't have taken it. So no trade. All right, so what do we got here? We do have a little inversion in a breaker. It's 130. All these gaps here, this trend line. I wish there was some equal highs there. Let's see what ES looks like. ES took this liquidity. YM did not. There's this 15-minute volume imbalance. And on the 1 hour, the volume imbalance. However, looking at this 15-minute chart, price is just simply ranging. So I'm going to opt for no trade. I can't confidently say that this long is going to go. It probably will because I'm not taking it. Look at that. So this feel like so this section of price action right here is a total barcode pattern. And it cleans up a little bit, does a nice retracement into 12 a.m. It doesn't have any clear SMT, I don't believe. Maybe on the 1 minute. So there is a 1 minute SMT. And I feel like this is the pattern I'm getting into is I'll take a loss on a B trade. So, or I'll see a B trade, take a win. I'll take the next B trade, which is a loss. And then here was the next B plus trade maybe. And I didn't take it. And it was a winner. So just noting that like. All right, well, still got time in the day, so let's keep clicking. And just kind of grinding down. Here it is at 330. So there was, what are we at? 350. So this could be a market on close. Well, look at the 15. There is no internal right in there. So I don't have, I'd be curious to see, well, let's see what it does. I don't have a trade here. Just sideways. Alrighty, so we have, I'm going to say I didn't take that model. No take B. It was a 130. Maybe it was a B plus. The PA was barcode. Delivery was sideways. And I missed out on 3R. So far, and it's interesting, like I'm down 3R for the week, and here I missed 3R, and here I missed 3R. So I could have been up 6R. I almost feel like my selecting setups is kind of screwing me. When I look back to this week, same thing. I missed this. Or how does this work? Missed opportunity. That's, I took it. How would I want to say this? So I took it, but it was minus 1R. Oh, I didn't take it. I didn't take it. No take it. So 2 break-even longs, nothing else. A 1050 long would have given 3R. A B setup, I don't know what time, would have given 3R. 1 long minus 1R, but I took it. So that technically doesn't count. So 5R minus 1R is 4R. So in this week that I tested, this second week at 24, had I just taken the setups, I would have been up 5R. And in the case of this week, I would have been up 3R. So this is interesting. It's almost like my selection is causing the problem. Me trying to determine what is going to be the better setup or not is causing the problem. So do I change my rules? Do I say I can take B setups? Because my previous rules were no, I can't take B setups. But maybe the rule is in January I can take B setups, but I just take them and I'm not selective of them. I heard that, those vending machines where they drop the claw down, scoop up the prizes, those scam machines at the arcades. I heard that those are programmed, and I don't know if it's true. I guess I could ask Grok or ChatGPT. But I heard that they're programmed so that way when someone wins, they actually go into a little bit more of a difficult mode because other people see that win and think it's going to win. And I almost feel it's like that's kind of thing where it's like I see a losing B setup, so I don't take the next one, which if this is a 50-50 coin toss, which it roughly is for me, 52%, the next one might win. And so then it just puts me in this pattern, if you know what I'm saying. So I find that quite interesting. So let's go to Friday, I guess. Go to the next session. And Friday there is 10 a.m. consumer sentiment news. So let's go out to the daily. So here on the daily, we took the previous day high. Don't need this. Don't need that. We came into this fair value gap. We did not hit consequent encroachment. But if we look at ES, it did fill in this fair value gap. So we have an SMT there. Let's see. Do we have any SMT on the candles themselves? No, at least not on the daily. We do have a 4-hour SMT up at these highs. All right, so here on the 4-hour chart, the 2 a.m. candle did nothing. 1-hour chart, we're just kind of chopping through this range here. News low is still intact, which is pretty significant. We have the 12 a.m. open. And we do have some relative equal highs. Here on the 15-minute. I'm not sure where it's going to go today. I don't really have a strong draw on liquidity. I'm just going to kind of see what price wants to do. Consolidating pre-930, which is nice. See if it keeps doing it. Okay, 930, is it going to just be a one-sided rip? Tapped into this 15-minute fair value gap. We do have relative equal lows. We're still inside of this range, which is a bummer. We have a 1-hour gap. I normally don't like taking trades within the first minute or two of 930. We don't have any bearish SMT though. That's not true. Right here we do. So we do have an actually A+ looking IFVG. We have a 1-hour fair value gap. We have SMT. We have high probability targets as news and equal. We're inside the macro. That's 932, so here's the IFVG. I guess so. I am going to give it a little more breathing room for the stop loss. And real quickly, maybe just look at the 15-minute, 5 minutes. So the 5-minute, it's no, so there's no 5-minute confirmation. 1-hour order flow is bearish. 4-hour. Is technically bullish, and the daily is bullish. So we are going against order flow here. So cons are no C2 against 4-hour plus order flow. So what do you think? Gonna get stopped out? Yep. Oof, this second week of January is just eating me. That's minus 4R on the week. Okay, a little bit of seek and destroy open. And that's kind of why I don't like taking often those 9, 31, 32 kind of trades, 33 even. So for this trade here, seek and destroy. And I guess I should, what I'm not tracking, I didn't track my losses from this week as, because these are all trades I'm hesitant on. So I think what I need to update this chart with is I took, so these were B setups. I took that one, and that was a loss. I'm just going to say that I executed on these ones. So I took 3 here. And I don't remember the details of the other ones, so just let that be. Let's see what happens. Oh, shoot, what did I just do? Reset chart view. Go to a specific day. I just screwed myself. I see. Well, that's lame. All right. So I tried not to look at what happens. I know it goes up at some point. Let's see. This is pretty disgusting. There's those equal highs right above. Equal lows below. So here we have SMT. We don't tap into a 1 hour level or a 15-minute level or a 4 hour level. We do have a 15-minute C2 candle. We actually have an okay looking inversion. It's outside of the macro though. Oh, there we go. We took those equal highs, but there's no inversion. So can't do anything here. So here's a 15-minute gap. 1 hour gap down there, an inversion. So we do have a 1 hour inversion. Let's go back to this setup. So seek and destroy and against order flow. So here's an inversion, but it's super small, an inversion and breaker. It's 11:20. So that's really small. But it's not even a breaker, actually. It's just a small inversion. And that's actually a nice looking inversion. And it took some equal lows right there. No gap though. Oh, we have this IFVG it retested, so there's that. Do we have any SMT? Does look like there's SMT here. Yeah, so there's SMT. All right, so it's 11:50. It's within my window. So we have an IFVG, and it's really like an A looking one. We have a 1 hour IFVG. We have a SMT. We have we do have some trend line liquidity. Well, I'm mixed on this one by a little bit. I'm going to say for the high probability, we do have some 1 minute trend line and then higher time frame gap. I want to look more closely for equal highs. We do have some equal highs. We're in the macro. I'm assuming that's going to be a breakaway gap, just how this looks. So the cons of this trade are going to be the 1 hour IFVG. That's kind of the bigger con. It's already been used is why. Or no, it hasn't. This is the first retest of it. We do have some 1 hour equal highs. So we do have, oh, the 12 a.m. So we do have some 1 hour equals. Cons of this trade are the 1 hour, or the, well, we want a long below 12 a.m. We're just consolidating around 12 a.m. is what my concern of. Consolidating at 12 a.m. level. So that's my concern. But hey, we'll give it a shot. I'll say right there. Three R. Sure. And stop me out. Before running without me. I was thinking, I think, about this candle body, but I probably, for the stop, but I probably would have been stopped out. Brutal. So this was, ultimately the reason was stop too close. And I think, isn't that 2 for the day? So I'm done for the day. And target acquired. Let's at least see if those equal highs get hit. Yep, right there. Alrighty, so let's document this. What's going on here? We're on 23. Brutal week for me. So I took a expense on a B setup and an expense on an A setup. Stop loss too close. What would have won? Really, my A with wider stop loss. Okay. And did I miss anything? So let's just see if another model presents, and then I can wrap that up, spreadsheet up. So not really, it just kind of floats up higher all day. Like, look at that, which it's heading towards the draw on liquidity that I had from earlier in the week. So the PA on this day, so S&D AM, then bullish. There was 0 missed opportunities. PA had kind of like, how to describe it? Deep retracements between the candles. So see how the candles tend to overlap a lot versus like, here's an expansion where they don't really come back down and rebalance price. But like, look at how this candle, like, look at this section of price. They just kind of like on the 32nd, they're just whipsawing back and forth. I don't know what to call that. Meh. I'm gonna call that meh. So the price action was meh. So what do we got? I missed 6R. I'm down 1, 2, 3, 4R. So what are my thoughts on the price action for this week here? So I feel like the A setups failed. B setups did work, but you had to take them all in order to benefit. Cherry pick equals choosing wrong setups. So ultimately, you either take all B's or don't trade. So I guess that's the secret. That's what I've found out so far for two. Come on, I keep clicking the wrong color. That's what I keep finding out for these last. I don't. There's no phrasing for like multiple second weeks in January, but for 24, mostly B models. So really, it's a very similar thing here where it's either take all B's or don't trade. Because if I would have taken all B's, I would have been up 5R. Or I guess I should add that in. So that was a 4R. And here I would have been down 2R. And here I'm down 2R. What do I say? Because these had no SMT. Because if I had all three of those, like that's 3R right there. That could have been a 5R week. But I don't think I can say I can take a trade without SMT. So I'm going to count that as a 0. So minus 2R, 3R. Or wait, we had a B setups, B short. So that would be a 2R day. No take the B plus. B plus breaker. So there was one 3R trade, minus 2R. So in this case, I'm going to reword this to better off not trading or take all B setups without cherry picking. So that's some pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting pattern so far. I'm going to do 2022 next, but ultimately, like, interesting. So first week, you're better off not trading. That's true of all 3 Januaries I backtested. And then the second week so far, 2 of the 3 Januaries, better off not trading or take all B setups without cherry picking. Because if you would have taken all B setups, you would have been up 1R in this week, and you would have been up 4R in this January. So, wow, that's super interesting. Let's go look at the P&L. January 23. Yeah. I don't think that's right. Let's reload. Because I took 2 losses on Friday. So there we go. Down 10K on this account. And that's interesting, like psychologically looking at that. I'm certainly not used to seeing down 10K. It doesn't bug me. And this is where I was hesitant with even using $800,000 accounts for the January experiment. I was thinking if January went well, then I would probably keep going. But if January doesn't go well, then I'm going to not keep going with these sessions and start new sessions so I don't skew my data. Because right now I'm trying to uncover, should I trade January? I already know it's probably not the best month to trade. I'm just finding out like what actually comes of it. So I don't know. It's kind of like a little bit of it stings a little bit seeing that, but I also know that this is just I don't expect January to be profitable. So it kind of like it's okay too. But just noting that there's that feeling there, and maybe that's good for exposure therapy. Seeing these larger numbers versus when I'm actually trading, I see minus 250. Minus 250 kind of numbers when I take a loss. So yeah, I think that wraps up here this episode. Super interesting findings, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one where we're going to go to January of 2022 and see if the pattern holds true. Should you, and of course, if you're going to do this is already telling me like probably do it on an eval account if you're trading January. So far, one of my mentors does appear to be right. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.